Peloton app. Is it worth it if you don't have the bike? Is it worth it if you have a hack? What if you don't? We're gonna get into the pros and cons and my review of the Peloton app up next. Hi guys, certified nutrition coach Samantha Souza here. I help people end the cycle of yo-yo dieting for good, and today I am going to be going over my opinion of the Peloton app. It is part of my Peloton Hack series. If you have not already watched those videos, what are you doing? Go ahead and click on the cards above or watch them right after this one. I have one all about outlining how I actually put together, assembled my Peloton hack, and I also have another one talking about the pros and cons of getting the hack versus having the real Peloton. Those are some really helpful, informative videos, and I definitely recommend checking those out. If you want to go do that and come back here, great. If you want to keep watching and go over there, comme ci, comme ça, I don't care. Do what you want. Before we get started, please like and subscribe if you like videos like this. I have a whole Peloton series, and I will keep you up to date on the journey as long as I know that you like videos like this, and I can only do that if you smash that like button. All right, let's get started. But today we're going to be talking about the Peloton app in general. Now, you can buy the Peloton app and not even have a bike. A lot of people aren't aware of this. It is definitely a exercise app. There are a ton of them out there, apps that sort of help you basically have great home workouts, and you don't even necessarily need to have equipment. Now, how does Peloton compare to some of those options? First of all, I want to lay out a couple of just facts about the app in and of itself. It is $12.99 a month, which is extremely affordable in my opinion, especially considering that it's actually more expensive to have the Peloton app if you have the bike. I don't understand why that is. In my personal opinion, that is kind of the opposite of what I think should be happening. It's kind of backwards. I feel like if you've invested the thousands of dollars into their bike, you should have a discounted rate for the app. However, it's cheaper if you get your own bike, and it's cheaper if you just get the app. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, obviously you don't need to have the Peloton app if you have the bike. It's all integrated, right? But you are paying for the subscription in order to use that functionality. So it's a little bit interesting, and I'm sure that you can, still sign in elsewhere on your phone. That is something to take note of. It's a little bit interesting, and that would definitely be included in my pros and cons of having the bike versus having the app. But today we're just talking about the app in general, and I'm talking about it under the assumption that you don't have the bike. So let's get into the things that I love about the Peloton app. First of all, there are so many different things that you can do on this app, from meditation, strength training with body weight, strength training with resistance bands, strength training with heavy weights, strength training with light weights. They have all different kinds of strength training exercises, and there are like 5 or so more new classes added every single day. So if you're the kind of person who gets bored pretty easily and you need a new thing all the time, and especially if you're somebody who gets hyped by new music, that's never gonna change, because always the latest and greatest song is going to be added to somebody's workout. It's really awesome. But not only do you get strength training classes, you also have yoga classes, you have meditations, you have stretching, you have the cycling if you do have a spin bike, you have running classes. They have classes where you can go outside and run. It doesn't have to be on a treadmill, even though they do have treadmill classes too. They are correlated to the Peloton tread. I think that's what it's called, their treadmill. But you can definitely make it work with your own elliptical or your own treadmill. You can just kind of use the guide as at your best guess, you know what I mean, and have the instructor be the thing that's motivating you. You don't have to have their treadmill, but they do have running classes where you could go outside and run and have somebody in your ear motivating you. I know that for me, I'm more likely to push myself with somebody in my ear telling me, okay, take a break. Oh, okay, really push it here. Okay, you know what I'm saying? It's so much more motivating than if it were just to go out for a run in general. I'm not a runner, I'm just saying. if you are. That's helpful. I personally really take advantage of the strength training classes. I do have heavy weights, light weights, and I do have resistance bands, so I've done all of those. I also really like the stretching and the meditations. I will say some feedback from my mom, who also uses the app. She really loves calm, breathing, focused yoga. And with Peloton, their big thing is like getting you integrated through the music. So obviously it's a little bit more upbeat, and for her, she says that it's kind of distracting sometimes when you want a more calm, you know, tranquil yoga experience. If that's what you're looking for, I think the yoga classes might not be for you for Peloton, but if you are somebody who thrives on music and you're just there to get a good workout and you like the yoga style of doing a workout, then I think you will really love it. It doesn't bother me, but it definitely affects her, and it's not necessarily her jam as much. She much prefers having it just be the instructor and very light music, if anything at all. So if that's not your jam, just take that into account. Now, when it comes to the cycling classes, again, go watch my Peloton Hack video if you haven't already to see how I hacked Peloton at home. But I use the cycling classes and it is absolutely amazing. I don't feel like I'm really suffering on the experience. I will get into a couple elements of times where I do feel like that in the cons, but for now, the class variety is just absolutely impeccable. The other thing I love about the app is if you have a smart TV, you can connect it to the app and then you can have the Peloton class on a big TV. There's not much you can do if you actually buy the Peloton and you only have the max size of that screen. And for somebody like me, I am nearsighted, so I don't want to have to put my glasses on just to do a class on the Peloton. That's just going to be really frustrating. And if you're not getting the more expensive bike, then you're literally locked behind your bike and right next to it in order to see the screen. If you get the upgraded Peloton Plus, then it will swerve out so you have a lot more room and the screen is a little bit bigger, but not by much. So to me, that's a huge advantage even of just having the app in and of itself. So I love being able to do it on my TV. I love having it on my phone. When I'm traveling, I went on a vacation to Puerto Rico and I had it on my phone and I was able to do a body weight class and it was awesome. It was so cool to be able to just bring it right along with me. That's really cool. You can still do that if you own the bike because you have access to the app, but that's just a benefit of the app in general. In my opinion, another pro is that I don't feel like you need the bike. If you feel like you are somebody who just likes to do lots of different strength training, yoga, meditation, if you're a runner, I think there's a lot of things on the app that make the $12.99 price point worth it. That's another pro. It's affordable, even if you don't have a spin bike. It's amazing. If you think about how much all of these different apps would be, whether it's a strength training workout app, plus a yoga app, plus a meditation app like Calm or something like that, those are all around the same price point individually, and then you have something here that can bring all of that into one system. And what's really great is if you connect with a couple of these instructors, a lot of them do cross training. So sometimes you'll see them on the bike, sometimes you'll see them in a meditation, sometimes you'll see them in yoga, sometimes you'll see them in a bar class even. There's all different kinds of workouts here, and if you connect with somebody in particular, you can kind of travel with them throughout the app, which is kind of cool too. Another thing I like is the meditation sort of style option and dedication. So what's really cool about the meditations is a lot of them are labeled. So for example, it'll say family focused meditation or job related meditation. And you can really curate your meditation for that day based off of what you are dealing with. And because there are new things added all the time, right now it's Women's History Month and they had all that kind of stuff going on. It's really cool because it's always topical. Even right before the Super Bowl, for example, they had like Super Bowl focused workouts. Like, it's really cool. It feels very current, and it's always very motivating when you can feel super connected like that. In terms of the functionality of the app, both on the phone and in app form on my TV, it is extremely easy to use, extremely intuitive. It's very easy to filter down to find exactly what you're looking for. So for somebody like me, I love musical theater, so I love the Broadway themed workouts, or I love like a Hamilton themed workout, or even just like 90s pop. Like, I can really filter out exactly what I want because I'm not somebody who listens to a lot of current music, and I really thrive on listening to things that I already know. So like 90s, 80s, early 2000s jams, I love that I can really find something that really gets me going, and it's very easy to find that and filter it down. They even had a Wicked themed like week where they had like a strength training, a cycling class, a running class, all just Wicked. It was like, it's so specific. And I know that might not sound like your jam, but I'm telling you, the fact that I can find that means that you're gonna find what you want. Another thing I like is that it's very level specific. So they will very much tell you like, this is intermediate, this is beginner, this is advanced. That's kind of cool too. So you can curate to even like the length of the class, things like that. And you can really filter it down so that there's something for everybody there. The other thing that I like, and this is something that I don't take a lot of advantage of because for me, I rather pick like the right music or the right vibe or the right length. But if you're somebody who thrives with the live class mentality, there are pretty much always live classes. If you just look ahead, you can plan out your workout to when it's going to be live. I have done some live classes myself, and it is kind of a different change in the headspace when you know that right now there are other people doing this exact same ride at this exact same moment, and that the instructor right now is actually doing it. And the potential for them to call out your name during the class is also really motivating as well. So I definitely think that that's a really interesting aspect of the Peloton app in particular versus other workout apps. The fact that there is the ability to be live, that can be massively motivating if you are the person who connects with that. Now, listen, it's not all rainbows and daisies. Let's talk about some of the things that I think are cons within the Peloton app. So this plays into the Peloton versus Peloton Hack element to having the app. If you are somebody who doesn't have the actual bike and you have your own spin bike at home, or maybe you don't even have a bike at all, I still feel like the app is worthwhile at $12.99, and especially because they have promos all the time. I got 2 free months before starting, so it ended up being overall cheaper than that. However, if you are somebody who needs to really know your resistance, if you're somebody who needs to really know your output to feel like you had a PR on that ride, you're not going to be able to do that connected to the Peloton app. There's going to be a lot of intuition needed there. I go into this more into my pros and cons of the Peloton app video. However, I just did want to mention it here that is something that I feel like sometimes you're not getting the full experience, but it doesn't take away from the app in and of itself, but I did feel like it was worth mentioning here. The other thing about the Peloton app versus the app when you have the bike is that there aren't any world rides as far as I've been able to find where like you can like ride in Jamaica or ride here, or ride there. And I think that's because there's a lack of connection between the bike and the screen. So they don't offer that when you just have the app. That is only if you have the app and the bike. So just be aware of that, that's not a thing. If you ever see people talking about that or doing that, as far as I can tell and I've looked, that isn't available on the generic non-bike connected app. The $12.99 app, that's not a thing. For those of you who are wondering, the actual full price of the Peloton app, if you have the bike, is $35 or $39 a month, which is like drastically different, drastically more expensive. So I don't even know if just getting the world rides is worth that, but again, I don't know because I don't have the bike. I will say that if you don't have weights or resistance bands, I don't know how much you'll love the app, only because bodyweight exercises are there and there's a ton of them and there's new things all the time. There's core workouts, things that you don't need any weights for, 100%. I do think that you are selling yourself short without going on Amazon and buying just a couple of really inexpensive weights. I will link down below the weights that I have purchased to go along with my Peloton workouts. For me, I use 3-pound weights, which sounds really small, especially as somebody who used to lift so heavy to me. But when you are doing the exercise 10 to 15 minutes straight without a break, I'm telling you, 3-pound weights can go a long way. And I also have 10-pounders, which again, I mean, I used to do curls with like 30s and now I'm like doing them with 10s. It's just really funny. It's a different approach. It is the more reps, less weight approach. If you're somebody who does the high weights, less reps approach, I don't know if they'll necessarily work for you, but it's great to kind of have a variety of approaches, especially if you're somebody who still plans on going to the gym and using cable machines and things like that. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do that with an app, but I think supplementally, if you had a $10 Planet Fitness membership and then $13 Peloton app, you have a really well-rounded set of things that you can be doing, and you don't always have to go to the gym if you don't want to. And I think that for an overall cost of 23 bucks a month is an incredible value if that's something that you want to be doing, just for example. I do think that obviously you can always have heavier weights, even though they say 10-pound weights. You can do 20-pound weights. This is really up to you, but you have to take into account that there will be no breaks and you have to do them for the length of the workout. Don't let your pride get in the way and just maybe try what they say and then add from there. I also think that you can get resistance bands, all that stuff on Amazon, and that way you can have access to all of the formats of the strength training classes should you want to. Now, I did mention in my pros that there are various levels in the app in terms of difficulty, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. However, I do feel like it's important to note that even the beginner classes are extremely challenging. So if you are somebody who has very limited mobility, I don't think the Peloton app is going to be great for you because of what it demands of you and the energy output for even the beginner workouts. I mean, even in some of the beginner yoga classes, it's more a matter of the vernacular and the speed at which you do any sort of like a vinyasa movement, what have you, but it's still going to gas you out. There will be beginner workouts that still have me huffing and puffing, even 60 days into having this app. So just be aware, your idea of beginner might not be Peloton's idea of beginner. So just take that into consideration. Not to say that they're like extremely hard, but if you are maybe older or you have extremely limited mobility, take that into account because I don't know if there's going to be a ton of stuff for you. It's more for the average beginner. Hopefully that makes sense. So all that being said, my review is that the Peloton app is one of the best fitness apps out there that I have tried personally. I also used to be a huge advocate of Beachbody On Demand, and while I think that that is also a great system for a similar price point, I think that Peloton just has more to offer. It's more well-rounded. Honestly, it's a sexier app. It's more engaging. I think that it's more up-to-date. It's super modern. I mean, we are talking down to the day. There are workouts that correlate to that specific thing. There were Christmas Day workouts. Let's celebrate Christmas. Like, it's extremely specific, which keeps you motivated and really eliminates the ability to get bored. There are more workouts than I even know what to do with. I definitely think that you will get the most out of the Peloton app if you combine it with a proper spin bike. I go into that all, like I said, in my videos all about the Peloton Hack, so please check those out. I'll have them in the cards above. If you are somebody looking to end the cycle of yo-yo dieting for good, that is my specialty. I am a certified nutrition coach, and I have put an amazing free masterclass together for you just so you can learn exactly why maybe you yo-yo diet and figure out how to nip that in the bud. I will have the link for that free masterclass down below as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if it was helpful to you, and I will see you next time on my channel. Bye guys.